What is loyalty? Well, to me, it seems like an all-around odd human-made concept that separates people into groups due to who or what they align with or what they think they align with, and that causes all types of splits between people, from things like gangs to brand loyalty. But that's on some fake third eye type of stuff because, yeah, everything we do is or relates to a construct of some sorts that we've created, or it's some instinctual type primal stuff. I always thought the loyalty in part 5 was an interesting thing to take note on because it would dictate things like who is the enemy and what is truly good and evil here, but what is it directly? Loyalty, in Wikipedia, is a devotion and faithfulness to a nation, cause, philosophy, country, group, or person. In our case, it's Passione. Now, this isn't about how people find themselves in Passione, but how do they keep their stance in the group? Now, I've recently replayed Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and it inspired this video, though not directly, but I had thought of the relationships of the group because of it. When it comes down to the entirety of Passione, this mob isn't connected as well due to the distance from everyone and the boss. Everyone's loyalty tracks back to the boss, obviously, but there's more of a chance of people devoting themselves to their remote group or their leader / capo. Everyone else more so falls in line like soldiers, and if they don't, then they're dealt with because there's no future for traitors, or that's what we're told to believe until we became the traitors. Though the biggest issue with this loyalty isn't on who it stands with, but more so what's the reasoning of defecting, and that's trust. In my video going over the Black Sabbath arc and its Godfather influences, I had gone over how big of a factor trust is. Respect is impersonal in both worlds, and can honestly even apply to our world depending on the person. Respect is a thing given to the stuff that I had mentioned earlier, and also stuff like position, skill, things along that line, but trust is a completely different area. Trust correlates to your own perspective, your own judgment, and connects to your beliefs. You can respect someone around the same position as you or higher, but you don't have to trust them at all. That early interpretation on trust that had mixed in its takes from The Godfather was something to be internalized when going about the rest of the part, especially when it comes down to the respect area of the gang. Most members fall in line as soldiers because it's their duty and they respect the position of their higher-ups. When it comes down to loyalty though, unless Passione has given that person a reason as to why they should trust him, the relationship isn't as strong to keep the people from diverging. This goes down into what people believe on what's truly important to them. If the gang is providing them money, to some that's enough because money answers majority of their own personal problems. Though when it comes to the other areas of Passione, like La Squadra and Bruno's group, they stand for different reasons. And since what they stand for wasn't received or even disrespected and lied to, then they all have reason to defect. So Polpo was right about how important trust truly is because it's the base of our relationships in this part, and even further from that too. So, with this understanding, let's use an example to further the point. When it comes to La Squadra, they weren't going to truly prosper when it came to being in Passione. They were an elite team and they weren't being compensated nearly as much as they should have been. Their potential was underutilized and they knew it. Because think about it here, people are always underutilized when it comes to normal jobs. What La Squadra was doing was not a normal job, or legal. Can you imagine going to that extent just for you to still end up being undercut? That's ridiculous. Plus, working in Passione puts your life on the line, and being in an execution team only magnifies that. Between the boss and La Squadra, this relationship was strictly business, especially since that's how the boss normally went about running Passione. The way that the boss had built Passione, it makes sense that he took precautions for the chance of traitors because the way that he ran it, he gave more of a reason as to why you should defect than stay. If the only thing that La Squadra is asking for is being kept from them, well, what's to keep them inside of the group? Then there was the whole sorbet and gelato ordeal. But personally, I can't blame them for investigating the boss because when it comes down to this type of business, it's either La Squadra or him. But with what he did, that sent a strong enough message to push them away to go ahead and defect from Passione. Something to take notice of though, they don't split up when they defect. When they leave Passione, they're still a team. And the reason for it is because of the shared goal that they have. And that shared goal creates a strong dynamic between the members to where they depend on each other to get to their goal. Even if members are being picked off one by one, the goal is still intact. And what helps that is that those that are lost now are now fuel for the remaining members. You can see the strength of the loyalty between all members in this team is definitely here. My next example is the boss's elite guards, known as Unitas Speciale. It's exactly how Google said it. This is what I was talking about when I was on the whole soldiers falling in line area. When it comes down to the boss's guards, I can't necessarily call the first three members we see evil. At least not entirely. Let's take Squalo and Tiziano, right? From what we know, these two are just doing their job. While it being their job doesn't remove them from being bad, I more so see it in the same light that we saw Bruno in originally. Squalo had seen the resolve that drove Narancia and was genuinely puzzled as to how someone can be this motivated, especially when they're facing against the threat that Passione can be. Now, would Squalo and Tiziano be about converting over and joining if they had taken a different approach? Maybe. If there was something that the boss wasn't providing them, then that could have been the reason why they turned traitor later on. I'm not really one to say, but that's just me believing in a chance for those two in specific. The rest of the guards are something else. I have not too much a reason to believe that the guards mentioned are doing what they're doing for any other reason besides the fact that it's their job. So their stance on loyalty at the moment is as strong as any other member in Passione until the boss gives a reason otherwise. But as we had seen earlier, if you do have potential, you do have a chance of being undercut. Now our last example is Bruno's subdivision of Passione. When it came down to the group, the conversion from gang into traitors was fairly easy because the majority of the members had loyalty to Bruno or their own beliefs more than their loyalty to Passione. That's because Bruno's genuine feelings towards each member and his resolve for a better future was something that everyone could get behind. That's on the group, but what about Bruno in specific? Well, the strain that his loyalty had gone through is ridiculous. Now, let me chart this out. The whole reason why Bruno even joined was for protection from the dealers that shot his dad. But the reason for that was even happening was because the boss was moving that weight to begin with. So, he meets Giorno, right? And the plan is to find out who the boss truly is, so they can go ahead and do what they want to do with that. And they try to capitalize off of the boss's orders by bringing his daughter to him and executing the plan, and taking over advantage from the plan itself. But the whole reason why he wanted them to bring his daughter to him is so that they can never find out his past or who he is. And he tries doing that by killing her. It's ridiculous, especially with how close Bruno holds family. His loyalty was in his core beliefs, and the boss went against every major thing he believed in. There was no relationship from the get-go. Being a traitor was the only option left. Same goes for La Squadra, because in that scenario, it's either you're a traitor to what you're already against, or you remain in the group, and you become a traitor to yourself. Who are you loyal to in the end of it all? Side note, when it came to finding out the boss's identity, I think this whole ordeal was actually massively interesting because how I see it, La Squadra wasn't necessarily wrong for trying to get Trish to find the boss. It's just that their reasoning is a bit too shaky for anything of unity to happen between them and Bruno's group. Also, they potentially wanted to kill her. The boss wanted Trish sent to him so that he could cover his tracks, obviously, right? And then use Bruno's group as a defense squad for Trish. La Squadra had wanted to use Trish to find out who the boss was, and Bruno's group killed nearly all of them. But then, Bruno's group uses Trish to find out who the boss is anyways. So, to me it's like, man, if they found out the boss's plan a lot earlier and had to talk with La Squadra, they could have joined together to beat the boss in the end of it. Though there's the whole saying that people are only as loyal as their last meal. So, if they were to join together, history shows that La Squadra could potentially want more, and that would end up in our two groups fighting anyways. Or, La Squadra could potentially want full control of Passione instead of Bruno's group getting it, so that would cause a power war. This all coming to my head because I had a few comments that were all, couldn't have La Squadra and Bruno's group join together, and it came down to the answer of probably not. We know where both groups have their loyalty at, and they just don't align when it comes down to it. So thank you all for watching. This video on loyalty is something that I've been thinking about for a bit, especially after getting through Snake Eater, because I started on stream, but after I was like, oh, okay, I can just finish this by myself, and I did. It was amazing. So I'm really happy that I could do something around there. I don't know, I could have made some more Snake references. That would have been cool. But yeah, on this whole loyalty thing, I think it's pretty crazy. Like, cause I'm in this position now that people have been subscribing to me for a pretty long time, probably even to the extent of like when they knew me about, oh, Caleb, you were at like, I was here since you were at 10K or something like that. It's pretty crazy. Like, it's not a loyalty thing, but it's just the idea is that it's pretty insane. And I thank you all for it, because I wouldn't be in the position I am without people like you watching the video, subscribing, leaving likes and comments and stuff like that. And it means a lot. So thank you all for the journey up here, and cheers to more, because it's, I don't know, to me it's not really the positioning. I just like that the size that I'm at right now, it means that more people can see my stuff, and I can talk to more people and hopefully get my ideas out there, and people can tell me whether they like it or not, they disagree, agree, it's whatever. It's the fact that it's provoking conversation, and I love it. I like people thinking, and I like the community joining together. So thank you all for getting me here. It means a lot. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace out, and Godspeed.